very cathartic.
Cry more, yeah.
Laughing is better.
Is that really?
Yeah, laughing extends your life.
Told you should laugh. You should cry more.
I think laughing. I'd rather laugh more than cry more.
No. Cry more.
Or you could cry more. I'll send my cries to you. I'll send my tears to you.
Cry more. You know the people that you know are on drugs? Oh, drugs. Are you on drugs, Paul? Hello. Are you on drugs?
Yeah.
I am Bada before you.
Oh shit, Bubba here.
So Bubba.
They say Bubba.
Brandon, say hi to everybody.
Bubba.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning,
Daddy.
You guys
So-
meet during coffee?
Is this your first day here? Welcome to
I was
Clubhouse.
here last night, but I haven't gone into too many rooms, so thank you.
You have big feet?
Pardon me?
You have big feet?
Oh, yeah, size 15.
Holy shit.
My ex-husband worked 14. It's really actually a pain in the ass trying to find food.
Well,
Right,
now
should we stop
I
at, like,
buy
thirty?
You gotta order 'em.
Yeah, it's pretty hard.
Yeah, you gotta order 'em. I know, right? Yeah, you guys don't get to try anything on. I feel your pain.
Yeah,
Right.
Did you try using excessive amounts of lube? So what did you pay?
Well, that was big too. But hey.
Are you digmatized too?
Well, I spent 25 years with
Yeah, the funny thing about this chat program is it doesn't seem like they filter the rooms by topic or whatever, so it makes it a little hard.
Yeah, there's no search by topic.
Here's how you're gonna find rooms that you want, Brandon. You're gonna have to make some friends. And then when you see your friends at the top, which rooms they're in, you'll start to get your algorithm will start to populate some less, it won't be as random for you. If I can give you a sense.
Clubhouse will change in 3 months. You won't be able to find it.
That's also true, yeah. That's also true.
It would be nice if you could put hashtags invisible or visible on rooms to say we're talking about this, we're talking about that, and then you could do a search.
We used to. Do you not remember that? We used to be able to pick the topic for the top of the room. Do you remember that? And then you could search by topic,
but
and then
I
you
don't
could
remember,
also.
I don't remember a really good search. The search was not very good.
You had to search for like the word. Sometimes we would put the word in our bio too, so that way you could find where our room was or
They should
something.
just embrace the hashtag, or the pound sign, as us older people called it.
So whoever came up with pound me too, by the way.
Pound me.
Hi, Megan Reynolds.
Come Sam's Clubhouse. Wait, what?
Hi, Agent Pebbles.
So Brandon, what you're hearing is we've been through many iterations of Clubhouse. So just when you get comfy with the way things are, they'll change it. But welcome.
So where are you from? What do you do? If you don't have to say exactly where you're from, some people don't like to do that.
Well, I'm from California. I'm a security engineer for a tech company.
Security what?
Engineer.
Security engineer. Well, that's okay. Those two words I never hear together. What does that mean?
That means I make sure the network is safe and
Oh, okay. Network
people aren't
security.
doing stupid stuff.
Okay. Like physical security.
Yeah, it's all tied in with like copyright law.
We're being streamed on YouTube again. Sorry, Brandon. We're being streamed on YouTube again, and the link is in the chat. Is there any way, Brandon, that you can get this creep off of this platform? I swear to God, you got.
No, I would
Yeah.
I'm the last person that's going to be like murder after that kind of crap.
Yeah,
We're also being streamed live on Clubhouse.
Yeah, but I bet the stream we're being streamed on has more viewers than Clubhouse.
I seriously doubt
500. No, actually, you'd be surprised.
There's only one looking at it.
One at a time. Elena actually went there. I don't think you guys have any idea how many viewers. None at all.
Yeah, well, he has like one or two, like followers.
No. Yeah, no.
What?
No, he's got multiple YouTubes.
Yeah.
How many does he have?
What is the fear about this?
He had a couple 100,000 on one.
I doubt it.
Elena showed us. If you think she's lying, you can take it up.
If he had that many views, I think he would be a happier person.
Honey, he's getting monetized. I don't think you understand. So it doesn't take much to get monetized on YouTube. It actually is one of the probably lowest thresholds. So he's getting monetized. That's honestly why he does it.
Oh, you have to have 4,000 subscriptions to be monetized.
Yeah, I think they might have it tied to subscribers where before they didn't. I started doing that as a hobby. I think it's pretty fun to do.
I heard this guy wanted to run for Congressman.
Not wanted to,
Is?
Well, if you go to his Instagram, you can see his asshole getting sunned if you like that kind of shit.
His asshole getting
No,
what?
you can't. See, you took a picture of his butthole?
Have you ever watched him? The fucking weirdos in his underwear up.
He's
Really
one
all up in
of
the
my
sun.
my best friends.
That says a lot about you.
Good morning, everybody.
That's
Nice to see the Tuesday
I
chaos.
don't wish.
Well, he's one of my best friends on Clubhouse, I would say.
Hey, can I just ask a question? How many of you guys used your actual phone number when signing up for this?
Yes. I did the first time.
I tried with the Google
You would have been learning to do that.
Well, I got banned my first account, so then I have had to use fake numbers ever since then.
You know who got banned? I tried to get him to use a Google Voice. Yirmiyahu is off the app because he got banned.
Oh, what a bummer.
I'm gonna ask some Disney music to play.
Another way you
Could
guys
you
can
play
get
some
around it
Disney
is
princess music for a sec? I won't be speaking.
I don't have any right now.
We won't be talking on the topic. I can tell you that. We'll wait.
Gas for $2.99. I'm so excited.
I have a question. Elle, you were talking earlier, you said you don't like the news. What kind of news do you like? This is not to offend or anything. I'm just curious because everyone likes a different style of news.
What I don't like, so we used to have locally owned news here. The newspaper was one of the longest running employee-owned newspapers in the country, and so were our news outlets, and now they are owned by conglomerates, so it's all shared news. Well, most of you we're all getting the same stories, basically.
Because I watch the news, like from Mexico, I go into a feed and I have to go look into specifically Mexican stations. And I've been looking at the subject matter that's been passed around about geopolitics stations. There's not many in the U.S. where they're being censored out. And,
I'm sure.
And sometimes, and I'm like wondering like how people feel about that, you know?
Well, I do go to, like, if there's something in American news, I will go to other news sources outside of the country. And it is amazing, either what we get and others don't, and vice versa. So there's a lot of filtering, both.
Yeah, because when I came back last night, I came back from camping, and I'm just like, seeing all the things that have come just from being away just 2 days. And I'm like, this is garbage. You know, and then tuning in this morning, I'm seeing Trump say, well, you know, if Israel and Iran, you know, they're fucked up is what he basically said. They can't fucking figure it out. And like he's playing daddy, and I'm like, who believes this? I don't think he figured it out. You know? I don't know. It was a thought in my head, so, yeah.
Just those in the room, I'm gonna get going for a little bit, just because I don't want to be streamed by Edmund. So I'm gonna bow out, but have a good one.
my name is Jason Barajas. You can also forward my YouTube station, and I would love your viewers to stop over because I would love to stir your minds up other than just listening to people on Clubhouse. You can go and find me at jasonbarajas.com. So, yeah, definitely appreciate you, man.
Oh, breaking news. It looks, is it John Kitover? John
I believe
Kitover.
his name is Kid Lover, I believe. John the
Yeah.
Kid Lover.
He was just arrested, so this can't even go.
No way. He wasn't arrested. Was he arrested for loving a kid?
It looks like it.
All right, I'm going to look it up. John Kid Lover.
Kitover.
How are you spelling this?
Kito.
Oh, I know. It's Congressman John Kitover.
He's in here with 2 accounts at the moment.
Arrested?
Living in 2 different places.
Where does
It
it say
looks
that he
like-
was arrested?
It looks like he got arrested for being a pedophile.
Where can you put the link in the chat?
I can't. I'm driving.
Oh, so how did you just look it up while you were driving?
Yes.
Okay, so where did you see that he was arrested? You're just bullshitting?
No, it's not bullshit at all.
Okay.
I just don't have the tactile ability to maneuver with my phone.
Okay, well, I just looked it up. I didn't find anything. I guess we're using, like, different internet algorithm or whatever.
You must be using the outdated version. But, no, he actually messaged me. He said that he had a plot. I don't know if I should repeat it, especially with this being streamed, but
I think you should.
He got a plot to love a baby?
no, worse than that. He actually texted me some plans of assassination.
Oh, interesting.
That's why he wants to be a congressman. He wants to get close and infiltrate.
I see.
I think I saw this TV.
I actually got a funny text message last night, Zach, that was actually sent to me from your mama.
What'd she say?
She said, love me long time.
Will you?
I will.
All right. That's all I can ask.
If Diego were here, this would be a great time for the John Kitover theme song. Have you guys heard the John Kitover theme song?
No, I'm really not interested. Rather not center this loser.
We're all losers here.
I said I'd rather not center this loser.
How do you feel? How do you feel about this loser?
I mean, if you listen to my suggestion, I'm fine with you.
Thank you.
At the end of the day, that loser is ruining my room because people don't want to be reported. So he's basically a thief stealing our fun. He's your best friend. That does say something about you, man.
If we sit and be quiet long enough, maybe he'll leave.
He's also stealing little kids' virginity. I mean, that's proven, but I'm open. No, that was proven. Insane. Oh.
beautifully gorgeous shot right through anyone's eye. Not long ago. Pop down the other side. Okay, for those of you paying attention, I'm going to move this room and try something, but I'm going to reopen.
Okay.
So actually, I'm going to just open a room and when people transfer over, I'm going to move it.
Okay.
He wants us to stay, and he said people should slowly transfer over and then close the room.
Well, it's not that he won't move, but I'm going to give him a minute. Oh, is that in Times Square? Where are you in that photo?
Yeah, it's Times Square. They had a summer solstice yoga in Times Square on Friday. Yeah.
Was that the 20th?
Yeah, it was Friday.
It's like at 10:23 or something in the evening.
No, it actually started at
Yeah, it started, but I meant the exact moment.
mine was from 3:30 to 4:30.
That was
I don't know what time the actual census was.
I think it was 10 minutes.
I'm sure all of YouTube is enjoying hearing this right now.
Yeah.
10:40.
10:42 p.m.
PM?
It starts on Friday, June 20th from 7:30 a.m. and it ends at 8:30 p.m.
Muslim.
Should I leave now?
Yeah, sure. Who else? What is all that noise?
It's someone who's Muslim. But we should just move the room and go now.
I'm Jewish. I'm Jewish. I'm Jewish. I'm Jewish. I'm Jewish.
Rohan, come to the other room. Jeff just said go to another room. Because we're being streamed.
Well, he's a very smart. He's a very smart mystic.
Yeah.
That's what he is. And the other reason why, I have these feelings about AI is because I've worked in Silicon Valley for so many years, and I've believed in so many things. You have no idea the power of tech.
Yeah, just so you know.
I was actually looking up his address. I'll find you.
Is it John Kitover, is it?
It is.
Fuck.
And he's streaming us at the moment. Again.
John Kitover, isn't he that guy who's going to be going for elections over in America? Jeez, I'll tell you what, he's going to be pretty fucking unpopular when all that video stuff comes out about him. Like, all the shit that he does. He's a fucking psycho, mate. Nobody's going to vote for him. No fucking way. What's the matter with that John Kitover dude? Fucking hell. Hello?
Oh, we hear you, and I have responses. I'm just choosing not to. Yeah, we're being streamed right now, Rose. So I think everybody's just being quiet. Are we still being streamed? I thought he was the seashell one.
No, still, he's got 2 accounts he's streaming right now.
What's up with this fucking stupid John Kitover maniac? Like he hasn't got a fucking brain between his ears, Donald Trump, you're fired.
Yeah, I'm sure his address is public record.
What the fuck? In this country, to worship success and money so much that I think it skews everything.
And just focus on I. The question is, what is the most important thing to me, or how do I hold the public trust, in terms of my core values? So rather than what you're not doing or what they're not doing, let's just keep it focused on you as my.
Okay, well, like we were talking yesterday about ethical dilemmas. Am I doing the right thing? And this is kind of like the life, and it's almost never. Am I doing the right thing to make more money?
When you're doing the right thing, what is it? When you're doing the right thing, what is it?
It's doing no harm, or doing as little.
And that's what Google used to say. Google used to have the motto, "Don't be evil." They don't have it anymore. But that's
a marketing slogan.
In the beginning, it wasn't. It was because Larry, because these guys were, immigrant graduate students. You don't understand how the money has corrupted Silicon Valley. It just has completely changed from how it used to be. And Sam Altman has this effective altruism, ethic, where he wants to make as much money as possible and give it away to things that he chooses. And that bothers me because I'm totally robbed of my agency. I'm going to be living on universal basic income, and I'm not going to be able to help anyone.
And as a person of influence, how do you hold the trust of others? What's important to you?
Don't be evil. I mean, do no harm.
Are there any values you have, or virtues, or ways of being that are not sort of the negation of the harm, but do no harm, or these kinds of things there's something, but is there anything more specific in terms of something more positive? Like this is something I practice. Or this is something.
Dr. James, I practice karma. I mean, first of all, I believe we are all interconnected, and I want to leave the world better than I found it. And I try really, really hard to do that. As for instance, this morning I was walking in my neighborhood, and I saw the lady who goes through the trash for the bottles and jars, the recyclables. And she was pulling them out of the trash, and I noticed that she wasn't wearing a hat. And I said to her, last year I had given her a hat, and I don't know what happened to it, but she didn't have it anymore. And my first thought was to go home where I have lots of sun hats and get her another sun hat and bring it out to her. And so I told her I was going to do that. And she showed me that she still did have a hat. Someone had given her one also, but she just didn't have it on. But that's my way of meeting the world. What are you missing? Let me try and, help you with that.
So just to say it again for the group, because I'm going to be kind of like a dog with a bone here, just to see if I can get an answer out of everybody. As a person who holds public trust, how do you honor that?
How do I what?
Well, I see hungry on my thing, so I wasn't sure.
I'll take a stab at this, but it's interesting what this question is bringing up, because it's making me think about if I have to say it makes me think about myself, and I might share experiences or points of view, but I haven't really thought about this like this before. So here we go. Well, I think that I like to I always try to be as truthful as possible, and stick to the facts, because I can lean towards spin when it comes to really advancing an issue or I'm concerned about sometimes, but I try to stay as truthful as possible and honest. In my choices for what I do in the world, it has consistently been focused on actions or programs or activities that are trying to make life better for more of us. in ways that I believe are possible or strategic or efficient. And I try to do it with, for me, through the experience that I've had in the world, living around the world, and I've had a lot of top, grassroots experience and exposure to leaders, some of them world leaders, some of them religious leaders, some of them business leaders. And I like navigating that space because there's a lot of value that can be added, and I feel that I have learned that listening to people on the front lines of experiences and bringing them into solutions and kind of almost getting out of the way and empowering their agency is incredibly important in really solving tough challenges for the long run. But equally, I would say that where as much as possible, I try to walk in the world with kindness on a day-to-day basis with people around me looking, it feels like sometimes you're in either the global south or the south of the United States where I have not spent a lot of time, but I believe in trying to look people in the eye, smile, and, really connect with people around you in this digital age. And then finally, results matter to me, so I like to try to focus on results. I only do things that I believe I do things for fun, but that are important. And I think always trying to find joy, because especially in these days where we are really dealing with lots of conflating challenges in the world that are complicated and challenging, and I just try to focus on also making sure that the resistance of joy to fuel you for moving forward. I have more thoughts. I do like innovation. I do like innovation, and I believe that people who start businesses are the engine of the economy, and that you can really lift up a lot of people if you are a successful business person. So I'm not anti-business. I'm not necessarily anti-big business or even anti-billionaire, because I don't believe groups are monoliths. But I believe that we have I fundamentally like to work on balancing the distribution of power in our world so that we can save the planet and ourselves and the other species we inhabit the world with. So that's enough for me. Was that enough for you?
That was amazing, Andrea. And I mean, outside of all of the wonderful details you shared, because I think it's really helpful sometimes for, especially after talking for the first 40 minutes about such a kind of dark and, I don't know, kind of unnerving topic, right now, to me at least, to be able to sort of counterbalance that with, so how do we live in a way that is kind of the antidote to that? And so what I heard you talk about was kind of a congruent form of integrity. You're talking about living out your values in your personal life, but then how those also are things you practice in the public sphere. And I think that's really important. I think somehow the notion of someone who's kind of one person in every space, though that's impossible in the concrete literal, but to have some kind of core modus operandi that, guides you, that, gives you direction, having a moral compass, I think is really important. And regardless of necessarily what the values are in particular. And yeah, so that is actually kind of what I was hoping to hear. I don't know, Marshall, do you have something you wanted to share?
Remember to laugh.
So as a keeper of public trust, you remember to laugh. So in a sense, what I'm hearing you saying is you model having a sense of humor in what, any given moment, or just in certain?
Anytime anybody can tell a good joke that's pithy, I'm a big fan of that. I can't do that myself. But my experience as an autoimmune patient, my experience in campaign says that the world can sometimes be a really terrible place. Not just, the objective things like war, starvation, hunger, murder, that kind of thing. I would say even one's own political contentment can really kind of wind us up tight. Everything's serious. Everything's a level 10. I'm not picking on one side or the other. I'm just saying people in general. And laughing helps kind of lift that blanket of seriousness and gets people to a place of agreement, or at least promises them for agreement if they're happy and laughing. And so it's easier to work together. There also is this piece, which is political satire can be quite good. I mean, the best explanation, Dr. James, I've ever heard of the 2008 financial collapse is a South Park episode called Margaritaville.
Totally, Marshall, totally. I love political satire.
So sometimes, like, for example, I love the Colbert Show. I can't stand Stephen Colbert as a replacement for Letterman. He's just not as funny as he used to be. But point being, like, it's all serious all the time. And since, don't lean to the left and Trump is president, I imagine the world in some places looks like a pretty dreary place. And if we can't laugh along the way, we're going to drive ourselves crazy. And I don't know about y'all, but we're supposed to help the country, not drive ourselves crazy in the process.
Marshall, I'm going to make an observation because I'm not necessarily hearing the answer, but I want to tell you something about you that I've observed that I think in some ways builds trust with others. And I think that's your apparent sincerity, your apparent authenticity, the fact that you are vulnerable at times and talk about, aspects of yourself that maybe someone else might really want to sort of hide into a deep, dark crevice somewhere. And yet at the same time, you still come and, I kind of see you being the same person in every space I hear you. And I think in that way, you are a good holder of trust. I mean, if on the other hand, in the background, we can't see you're playing xylophone for kitten heads right now, I mean, that would be different. And that's kind of what I was hearing about. I'm just saying, that's what I was hearing about Dr. Francine and the talk earlier with Barbara was, Sam Altman is basically, this mad scientist behind the scenes that has this really sincere sort of persona. And so, I think, Marshall, I just want to tell you what I've observed about you is you seem like a very kind human, a gentleman and a scholar. And so in that sense, I think this is kind of how people can sort of have values that, maybe they don't even think about, but they just kind of implicitly sort of exude. And,
Dr. James, don't forget historian Marshall. I value how Marshall's always trying to, will always come in and try to put forward a historical perspective, a context, and often what we're talking about, but also the very local color from down in Texas.
Found you to be just an innately curious person, even if we don't agree on methods to solve a problem. I think we both recognize the problem and the complexities of the problem, and I think that's something that I like to see more of. One of the things I've been thinking about this as people have been talking about. Do we want a savior? Do we want somebody to save the industry or to save the republic party? And I really don't think that person exists. I think that there's effective leaders, but they aren't saviors. They're people that can ask the right questions, and I always kind of wonder, in my own life savior,
Ding,
or am I trying to be,
ding, ding. That's
or am I trying to be a partner? And you know, I often wonder that, because sometimes I go, well, I have the solution to this person's problem, when I might not really understand their problem, and I will offer them a solution before really understanding what the problem is.
That's more crowdsourcing ideas
That
and
was-
solutions.
yeah. No, right.
No, but yeah, okay, fair enough.
Yes. No, I'm just kidding.
But
I just wanted to highlight for everybody, that is a question I was hearing as you were talking, Rick, was, you know, what ways am I motivated by being a savior? But that was sort of anchored in the question, was just sort of how am I a holder of public trust? And
James, you muted. I don't know if you.
I don't know if I was in the matrix or not just now, but I basically just wanted to highlight his questions, like, you know, when is it that, you know, how am I motivated by, you know, wanting to be a savior, you know, sort of more than knowing how I can actually be helpful. And this is a question.
It's interesting. It's interesting because this notion of holding public trust doesn't mean always that you're solving other people's problems, right? It's also having the humility, as Rick pointed out, and as I was mentioning earlier, hard-learned lessons over the years of people who've worked on programs and thrown money at issues to fix things, but they never consulted communities. And I feel, in a way, we've been living through a bit of that here in America as well. And we're coming to reckon with that more and more. But I think I would build on those points and just add two more, which is that I think it's really important. The curiosity factor and the ability to ask questions and listen to other perspectives is hugely important. And then also, I think some level of recognizing that perfection is elusive at best, and sort of, I think one needs to be bold in ambition and aspirations, and I think leaders need to model that. But I think sometimes, you know, the 80-20 rule, knowing that things can't be perfect, and helping to sometimes you have to level set expectations based on certain realities as well. So I don't know, tricky balance. But I feel today's leaders, in many ways, I'm just going to say, are missing the mark. I mean, there's all these memes out there about how many women are waging war in the world right now. And the only women I know who are waging war are the ones that are fighting for education in Afghanistan, and the ones who are down in Washington right now, coalition to protect their reproductive rights, or, you know, standing up for girls' education, and women who are on the front lines of climate change. So, and some elected women officials, and can recommend Jacinda Ardern's book, her new book that's come out. She has a great story.
So for you, Andrea, I think what I'm hearing to some degree, to a great degree, is part of holding public trust for you, or, you know, your personal values that sort of, you know, spill out into the world, are, you know, making sure people, the community, anyone who will listen, is as aware as possible as things that hold great importance to you, and trying to communicate those from a fact-based perspective to some degree, at least staying aware of when, I think there was a word you used to describe, you know, sometimes you're prone to doing blank, and maybe just having an awareness that when that happens, you know, you can always self-correct. And I think that's really helpful, because, you know, also, Rick, you know, same with you. I mean, I know that you are out there really doing work, and, you know, you're open with your values. And my experience of you, you know, private, is that you're quite congruent in terms of, you know, who you are here and who you've been with, you know, with me on the phone, and yada, 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 you know, text messages. And I think that is something that, you know, having a sort of predictability about your character, I think means a lot. I don't know if anyone else wants to answer the question before we shut down, but this is one of those ones where I don't think I'm going to let this topic go, and I think keeping the conversation kind of on the I is really useful when thinking about what everybody else is.
I'd like to say for me, like, one thing for trust is like, loyalty, where people like will come to me with stuff, and if it's somebody else's business, I don't, let me say this, like I don't divulge stuff. I don't get involved with gossip. And when somebody comes to me with something, I will, sorry, I'm losing my train of thought. I will hold on to that unless what they're doing is harming someone else. And I've come up with that personally in my life, where with someone in particular, never tell that person's business, but now it's affecting, their children. And so when it gets to that, then, some of that confidence has to be, or some of those secrets would have to come out then. But yeah, until then, I think it's important to, not spread other people's business unless it's not.
Well, David, you're the last person here who hasn't spoken. If you want to say kind of a hello and a goodbye, and then I'm going to shut the room down.
Sure. I just got in pretty late, so it's kind of none of my business to say anything. Everyone.
Yeah, I mean, that's okay. I respect that. Okay, well, I think today this is just kind of a nice, gentle moment to shut the room down. If anyone has any final, just a word or a sentence, feel free. Let's say 10 seconds of silence.
Now I have 10 more questions to try to answer today. Yeah, that's one of the things I like about this room. It always gives me good questions to try to answer. And most of the time they're not easy questions to answer, and I don't even know if some of them have answers. So it's, that's one of the things I really find helpful about this room, is it does motivate me to look inwards rather than outwards to solve problems, even though I know that there's a lot of things I can't control on the outside. But, it's a good one. So, appreciate it.
Thanks, Rick. And I just wanted to share really quick that, psychologists who are at APA accredited schools are required to do minimum 1 year of personal therapy because of the propensity for people who are prone to being caregivers to also have, we might even say other motivations yet to be discovered for why they want to do what they do. And, I think there is something to that process of introspection, just to, it's not that we can change everything about ourselves, but there are things about us that it's, maybe are just out of our awareness, and they can be helpful, having people you trust giving you feedback about those things and doing your own kind of self-reflecting on it. And I think that makes for, a leader or someone who's has sort of the public trust. I think it's a way to build more trust, and I think it's helpful, to just have the ability to introspect and consult and all of that. So I appreciate the time you spent today too. Thanks, everyone. Anyone else have any final thoughts? Okay, Ben's room is probably already going right now, and it's crazy out there on the clubhouse streets, so be careful.
Hi, Leslie.
Hi. How are you? The iguanas. It's back.
Yeah. How did your mission go, Joel?
But the fact that he's with a ticket account means maybe we got all the ones that are part of the house. I wonder if I have the ticket account blocked already. Honestly, wondering if lucky if he was 5 feet closer, I'd get him. He's on private property, no trespassing. There's 2 of them. I might just get him anyway. I'll do it back. To be honest, I'm not even sure how this would be private property. This looks like I'm in private property right now. This appears to be public land once I leave this private property. I don't know whose property this would even be. If it's the city's, it's public. The sign might be mistaken. Very confused. But no, I'm not doing it yet. Oh, it's a golf course. It seemed to be golf. Oh wait, it's a golf course for the neighborhood I'm in now. I'm gonna assume this is okay.
Let's start World War III right now. Jules, let's get it going.
Jules, can I just chime in? It's 5% of the players are Hispanic. And I said, are you playing this Sunday? He said, no, the league's been canceled for 2 months because of the ice activity.
Wow. That is amazing. It makes sense. But, the disruption, we're just beginning summer. And I think that's going to happen all over the place. I think that our dear orange dictator has made it his plan to terrorize every blue city in any place where, more than 2 Hispanics get together. So, I don't know. Steve, do you think, there's a law they're trying to pass that will force ICE to unmask, that'll make masking illegal? Do you think that has a chance of passing and staying in place?
Is that Congress that's trying to do that?
No. I think it's
California.
I think it's California. Yeah.
I think that's going to be tough. I mean, I'm sure I assume it's a law that doesn't just apply to ICE, but applies to law enforcement generally.
I think it's law enforcement generally. Yeah.
Yeah, that's tough. My guess is, if push comes to shove, a state law, can't tell the feds how to do something. But that'll be interesting whether they can do something about it. It is just appalling to see these people. And I'm going to say, I know there was the one awful example of the murderer in Minnesota who was, masquerading as a law enforcement officer.
Yeah.
I gotta believe there's other examples of this now because these guys, they're wearing fatigues, their faces are covered.
Yeah.
It's pretty easy to pull off that look.
Oh, they're already selling ice jackets, that have ice that mimic the ones that they're wearing.
Jesus.
And they're already doing it. So like there could be total gangs pretending to be ice people just rampaging all over.
Yeah,
so that alone should be a reason to make it illegal.
Yeah, I think it's going to become an issue. And of course, harassing people, but also just committing other crime, just robbing people, whatever.
Yeah. Well, it's the point to wear the mask.
Or in Minnesota, that guy dressed up as a cop.
Right.
And had a cop car. How did that happen? Or a car that looked like a cop. The one who shot the state lawmaker, sorry for more context, the one who shot the state lawmaker, Hortman, who was an alum of the Kennedy School and a beloved, wasn't she Speaker of the House? She was a beloved state lawmaker.